are we feeling about this setup? Hi everyone! So I'm doing a video today. Big shocker there. And I'm gonna call it Blast from the Past. I don't think it's anywhere on YouTube yet. If it is, sorry. Oh well, I'm doing my own version of it anyway. I was just sitting reminiscing on days when I had a Mustang. Just kidding. No, I was just sitting and reminiscing on the past, and I was like, hey, let's share my past with the world, shall we? Because, you know, that's the best thing about the internet, is everything about you gets put on there when you make videos about your life. So basically, I've just kind of come up with about 10 questions pertaining to things of my past and like my childhood, etc., etc. So here we go. What was your favorite show as a kid? Now, as a little kid, I watched a ton of Blue's Clues. If you guys don't know what that is, it's a show about a little blue dog, and she found clues and she left paw prints, and that was her clue. There was a song though, there was like, something, something, something. You find another paw print, that's the second clue. You put it in your notebook, it's Blue's Clues, Blue's Clues, Blue's Clues. So that was Blue's Clues. I was really into, my sister and I were both really into this show called Out of the Box. And basically it was all because at the very beginning they built this huge like fortress of a fort out of cardboard boxes. And it was like, they went in through this cardboard box like tunnel thing, and they emerged, and obviously it was a set. But at the time I was just like, my mind was blown because they emerged into this like big huge like fort of a place, and I was just like, wow, that's so cool. And, like as a little kid I was like, I need one. Then as I got a little older I just started watching like Disney Channel and things like that. What was your favorite treat as a kid? And this is like any sweet, any candy, any treat, any, you know, things like that. And I was really into ding dongs. It's basically like this little circular cake, and it's got like a layer of cake and then a layer of like cream icing frosting stuff. I don't know, just whatever they put in those types of snacks, like Twinkies and things like that, but it was like that. And then another layer of cake, and it was completely coated in chocolate and wrapped in like a tin foil. And oh, they were so good to me. I ate them all the time. Another treat that I've always loved are brownies. Moment of silence for the brownies, please. Thank you. What was your favorite game as a kid? Now I mean any type of game, like any type of game you play outside, or like a board game or imaginary game. When I hit like primary school, elementary school, you know, whatever you want to call it, just that younger school age, my friends and I, maybe it's a game, you know, it's kind of like a spin-off game. I don't know if we invented it, but we played it a lot, and we said we invented it. We called it Medic. And it was this game where a bunch of our friends would go out into the field, and it was kind of like freeze tag, but there was a medic. You had to freeze with like your legs open. So you got tagged and you froze like this, and whoever was the medic had to go and run underneath your legs, and then you were like free, and you got to go, you know, run around and play again. So that was one version, and then we played another version where if you got tagged, you had to drop to the ground, and the medic would come and touch you and revive you. And so yeah, that was like my friends and I's jam when we were little. We would just play Medic all of the time, and it was like the best game in the world. What was your favorite book growing up? Now, I really initially want to say Harry Potter because that was my entire childhood right now. However, I'm not going to, because I feel like that's more of an ongoing thing. I still love Harry Potter. It's not something that I've kind of left in the past, but something that was in my past and that I continued into the future with. However, one of the series of books that I read quite a lot was called The Hardy Boys. And for all of you who don't know what the Hardy Boys was, it was like these two brothers, I think they were. But anyway, they would solve like mysteries and stuff, kind of like Nancy Drew or Sherlock Holmes, but it was just a couple of boys. And I really enjoyed the stories. I really loved them, and so I read them all the time. Another one, a series of books, why I read them, I don't exactly know, because I hate scary things. I hate scary things, so I don't know why I do this, but I read the Goosebumps series. I read them all the time as a kid, and some of them were kind of mild and I could handle, but a lot of them really, really scared me, and I would have nightmares about them, and I would hate it, and I would hate reading them, and I don't know why I read them, and I would finish one of the books and I'd put it away and I would be like, I'm never doing that again, I hate these books, and I would read another, and I don't know why I did it to myself. What artist slash band were you really into? Now, I was into all of the classics. Britney Spears was a really big one. So I actually have a really kind of funny story about this. So I had a best friend growing up. Her name was Ashley. She used to be one of my really good childhood friends. And I would go over and we would have sleepovers all the time. And I don't know why this was a thing, but Ashley and I would get like CD players when they first came out. We would go, and I would go over to her house, and we would go under her bed and just blast Britney Spears music under there, and we'd like sing along to it under her bed, and why it was under her bed, I don't really know. That was like our thing, so we would blast Britney Spears music under her bed. So that was really fun. Of course, I also listened to bands like NSYNC and the Backstreet Boys. Now, what would a good video about reminiscing on old times would this be without a dating portion? You're welcome. What is the best date you've ever been on? I don't know if this counts as a date, but I'm going to say it anyway. When I got proposed to, Kyle, my husband, proposed to me at Disneyland. It was his first time ever going to Disneyland, so my family, my sister, my mom, and myself took him to Disneyland so he could experience it, and we had been dating for a pretty long time, and we were kind of talking about getting married. I didn't know he had a ring at this point, and so we had been discussing it and stuff, but I didn't think anything was too serious because I didn't think he had a ring, but you know, we were pretty sure that one day we were going to marry each other. And it was around Christmas time, so the castle was all decked up and so pretty and just covered in lights. I wanted a picture in front of the lit up castle, and I was so dead set on it, and I didn't get it the first night we were there. And so the second night, I was like hounding my mom and Kyle and my sister Taylor to just go take the picture beside the castle. I was like, I want my picture beside the castle. And when we went up, when it was our turn to go take the picture in front of the castle, he went down on one knee, and obviously I freaked out, and he whipped out the ring, and it was so awesome. But yeah, so what is the worst date you've ever been on? So I used to live in Tucson. I don't know if I've mentioned this before. I used to go to school at the UA there, University of Arizona, and I went on a lot of bad dates there, but one of the worst dates I've ever been on was this guy, not gonna name names, picked me up at my apartment. And he picked me up around dinner time, and he didn't want to tell me what we were doing, which is fine and all. He wanted to surprise me, that's great, and whatever. So automatically, first off, I assume, oh cool, we're gonna go have dinner first before whatever else we do. No, wrong. We didn't eat at all that night. And for any of you that know me, that's really bad for me because I'm hypoglycemic and my blood sugar drops like crazy. And so from that, I started feeling really, really yucky because my blood sugar was dropping gradually throughout the night. And I had just like a splitting migraine like all night. And I mean, my head hurt so bad. It was like, I don't know, one of those splitting pains where like you take ibuprofen or Advil or whatever you take, and I took like 3 ibuprofen and it did nothing to my head. It just kind of dulled my headache, and it was awful. It was the worst night. So I'd gone without food. I was starting to get an upset stomach because I hadn't eaten since lunch, and I assumed we were going out to dinner, and I had a headache. Also, he was kind of a douche to me. We weren't really into each other, come to find out. So I don't know why he even asked me out. I don't know why I said yes. But we went out, and it was absolutely terrible. It was the worst day ever. We ended up going and trying to make these paper lanterns, you know, those ones that float and stuff when you light a little fire underneath it. They tanked. So they floated actually, surprisingly, for a little bit, but then they just shriveled up because he used the wrong material and just sank into a lake. Thankfully, we did it by, or not a lake, it was by like this little pond. And then we went to a red box, and I told him, I was like, nothing scary, please. Because I was waiting in the car, and he's like, I'll go pick. And I was like, I told him, I was like, do not get anything scary. I cannot handle scary. Please don't. I'm not being sarcastic. I'm not trying to be funny. Like, don't get anything scary, please. So what does he do? He comes back with a freaking scary movie. And I was like, what the heck? And so we go back, and halfway through the movie, I'm like, I'm done. I don't even remember what movie it was, to be quite honest. But I'm like, I'm done. I want out. I've got a headache. I feel pukey. I want to leave. Get me out of here, please. And so finally, he takes me home. He doesn't even like walk me to the door at all, which is fine and all, but he was kind of, I don't know. It's just a nice gesture, and he was kind of tanking all night, but he doesn't even walk me to the door or anything. He leans over the center console and like goes for a kiss. And I'm like, whoa, dude, like this date sucked. What are you doing? Like, you don't like me. I obviously don't like you. Why are you trying to kiss me right now? Oh, it was just, oh, it made my skin crawl. To make things worse, so that was the actual date, and that was really bad to like sum things up. So that date was really bad. To make things worse, he came over the next day, invited by my roommate, because my roommate was the one that introduced us because they were friends, says in front of me to her, yeah, I should have asked you on a date, not her, because that date really sucked. Who says that? You just took me out, dude. Dude, last night, he just took me out, and he says that. Yeah, the date might have been bad, but you don't say that to my roommate of all people. What? Oh, that guy was such a douche. But, and the worst part is my roommate, she says, yeah, you know what? We really have a chemistry. We just click really well together. You should have asked me out. What the actual heck? Are you kidding me? I'm sitting on the freaking sofa right next to her as he's sitting in a chair right across from me, and they're having this discussion like I'm not in the room. I'm like, how rude could you get? So basically, in total, that was definitely one of the worst dates I have ever been on. It was terrible. What was your best kiss? I don't remember any like best kisses in my past. My husband's a really good kisser. Actually, he really is. I'm not going to give you details. So I'm just going to describe a good kiss to you, what I think. Nothing just like done. You know, just like a nice good kiss. Not too much tongue. You know, not just like a quick peck and goodbye. Just a nice, solid, good kiss. You know, some hair action, face action, all that good stuff. What was your worst kiss? Now, have I got a story for you? Again, I'm not going to name names. My worst kiss, funnily enough, actually happened to be my first ever kiss. The guy wasn't a jerk or anything. He was a super nice guy. He just oh, he just couldn't kiss. So what happened was, we were on a date, and not on it, well yeah, we had gone on a date. First off, we had to meet because we came from like way opposite ends of the spectrum. So he drove in and I drove in, and we met at like like a median, I guess you could say, like a middle point, and that middle point happened to be Lowe's. Basically, we were in the parking lot of a hardware store. We had just gotten off the date. He dropped me back off to my car and walked up, and I really liked this guy too, so I was like down for kissing him, you know? And I was like, yes, I'm excited. I could tell he was moving in for the kiss, and I was like, let's do this. It was so bad. He didn't know what he was doing, obviously. I don't know what I'm doing, but I don't think I was that bad. First off, he used way too much tongue, and he started kind of like drooling and slobbering, and by the time I pulled away, I had like this wet ring, like all the way down to my chin. I kid you not, just my mouth was all wet. And I was standing there and I was like, so, see you later, like let me get in my car. So I didn't want to be rude and like wipe off the slobber all over my mouth. But I didn't want to have it like sitting on my face either. He was just looking at me and he was just like, oh, that was awesome, you know, like just the look on his face said that. And I was just kind of like, okay, bye, let me go, you know, because that was like such a bad kiss and it was such a disappointment. And oh, but yeah. Then he like kissed me on my forehead, which I genuinely normally love. But that time I was like grossed out because his lips were still wet, and so it left a wet mark again on my forehead. So my mouth was wet, my forehead was wet, and I was just like, please let me get in my car so that I can wipe this off of my face. Like it was so bad. And I didn't want to be rude to him because I actually really liked him at the time, and I was just like, I'm done. I'm done. I want to go. I want to wipe this off. But yeah, so he just like kissed me on the forehead and he finally left. I got in the car and I like got some napkins and had to like wipe down my face. Basically, it was gross. What was your most embarrassing moment with a boy? I'm awkward just as a general rule, but I've learned to accept my awkward. However, I used to be painfully shy around guys I like. And I don't know how to flirt. It's a good thing I'm married and I don't know how it happened. I don't know how I got my husband actually, because I seriously cannot flirt. I cannot give signs. I cannot take signs. I can't flirt. I'm just not good at it. I'm just not. I'm awkward. So now keeping that in mind, and I used to be painfully shy on top of all of that awkward. I was just like building a snowman of failure for my dating life back then. I just was. And so I had a crush on this boy. Sad thing is, on a side note, I've never been asked to a school dance ever. I always had to do the asking. Really, really sad. So both my proms, I had to be the one to ask. If I wanted to go to prom, I had to ask my own date. Side note over. So I wanted to ask, I hadn't been asked yet, and there was like a week to the prom, and it was my junior prom. And he was a senior first off, and I was a junior. And I was like, I really like this guy. He's super cute. I want to ask him out, but I didn't know how. My mom knew I really wanted to ask him. So my mom talked to his mom. His mom yelled out to him, bring him over, and was like, hey, Brandi wants to ask you something. And I was standing there like, because I wasn't expecting that to happen. Like, obviously, I really wanted to go with him and I really wanted to ask him, but that was not the way I wanted it to happen. Though, also without her, I probably wouldn't have had the guts to ask anyway. So I should in a way be thankful to her that I even got a date that year, but I was mortified. So I was terrified of asking him in the first place, and that was not the classy way to go about things. So I was just standing there and I was absolutely terrified, and I was just like, will you go to the prom with me? Just like in the middle of all these people, and he was just like, yeah, and I was like beet red, and oh, it was the worst. I was like, cool, thanks, okay, bye, I'll let you know like what's going on. And that is the story of how I got a date to my junior prom. Honestly, guys, those are all of the questions that I came up with. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoyed learning a bit more about me and how I was kind of in the past and reminiscing through me and coming with me on this journey down memory lane. Really though, if you enjoyed this video, give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more of me. And I will see you guys next time in another video. And let me know what you think of the background. I may use it, I may not. Alright guys, bye! My air conditioning just kicked on. How lovely, it's really warm in here.